Hello, you guys, and welcome back to the Girls Lounge with your hosts, Liz and Katie. Apologies ahead of time if we're just not making sense at some points because we are recording a little bit earlier than our normal call time.
Yeah, what Liz said, it may or may not be before 9 a.m., which is crazy for us, but we had to do it. We're investing in the future.
Exactly. We won't regret this later on. But for today's episode, we have a little fall ins and outs because it is officially that. Well, I don't think it's officially that time yet, but it's starting to feel like that time of the year. And we're also going to go ahead and do our quarter three, Q3 recap because it is already quarter three of the year. So that means we have just one more quarter and then 2025 is over, which is crazy to think about. But before we get into all of that, we're going to go over our usual segments. So I'll go ahead and take it away on what I've been up to this week. I've been working a lot this week with my parents at our restaurant that we have. So I've been work, work, work. I have been making some tip money, luckily. So that's nice. Some spending money that will be reinvested. When I get further on in the episode, I'll tell you what I'm investing that in. And then, other than that, I've just been doing that and then enjoying some time outside too. The weather hasn't been like humid anymore, I feel like it's been very enjoyable in the evening. So I've been sitting outside and doing some reading. But yeah, that's what I've been up to this week.
Yeah, and I have just been up to school. I had a coffee list there. I was actually on the phone with my aunt yesterday, and she was like, "What you been up to?" And I'm like, "Girl, I've been a prisoner to my desk." Yeah, just been doing school for the most part. I had some notes about that. One last week, if you listen to that episode, when I said pretentious, I actually think I meant to say presumptuous. So there's that correction. I learned I get angry after my night classes for some reason, specifically I think my Monday through Wednesdays, I think those are my longest days. Just because I'm like, oh, like I've been at this desk all day. All I want to do is nothing. And you have me here sitting here for no reason learning. And I'm just like, ugh, I don't want to be here. So I think what I need to do is literally like turn off my phone and just live in the present moment, because I think I get annoyed because I'm like, there's so many like things grabbing my attention, so then I feel overwhelmed, and so then I get frustrated because I'm feeling overwhelmed, so then I get angry. So I think that's the cycle we're going on. So I think my solution to that would be turning off my phone, maybe, and like maybe reading or something, I don't know. And then yesterday in my class we had a really funny exercise. It was like, again, I swear, in college and grad school they make you take like 50 million like personality, strengths and weakness tests. And so we did like a strengths test for my marketing management course. And it was funny because a part of it was like your balcony and your in the basement. So it's like the balcony is like the good parts of your personality or of your strengths, and then the basement is like the bad parts. So it was like really funny. So like, for example, it was like if you're like one of the more outgoing people, it's like, oh, like you connect with people, blah blah blah. But like that'll be your balcony, but the basement would be you're like, oh, like people think you're overbearing, too talkative, things like that. So I thought it was like really interesting. So I don't really know how you would do this for free if you weren't a student, but if you could do the test, I think it would be really fun to look into. And then I am in full fall mode for the most part, even though I did just start another summer romance. But it's okay because the first day of fall is not until the 22nd, I think. But as soon as it hit September 1st, you already know the fall playlist came back on. I'm wearing my hoodies and my sweatpants every day. I'm really into my fall shows. Like, it is fall time and I'm super excited.
I did not realize that fall started that late. But yeah, like Katie said, it is fall time. The weather is finally like it feels cooler in the mornings and then the evenings. It's not like a heat wave anymore. So just because of that, it's officially fall to me. And all my TikToks are telling me it's fall time. Like they're all like doing their little fall decor. So I'm like, yeah, it's fall.
And I feel like fall is so fleeting. Like, everyone's so ready for like Halloween and Christmas and stuff. I'm like, you have to start on September 1st to like get into the fall mood, or it's gonna go by like that. So, we're starting early so we can really enjoy the full fall season.
Agreed. And I don't know if this is an uncontroversial opinion or not, but I personally feel like the fall season is better than just like the spooky Halloween season.
I can see that. I don't have a strong opinion because I'm a holiday girl. Like I love Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, but in general, I just love the fall winter season.
And now we're gonna go ahead and get into our favorites of the week. I'll let Kennedy go first because I'm kind of gonna copy hers a little bit. So she can say hers first.
So my favorite of the week this week is honestly one that I've been meaning to talk about, but I forgot. But it is my nighttime reading light. It's the best thing I ever could have bought. It was like a last minute like impulse buy, honestly. Sorry if you guys hear the trash can, the trash people picking up the trash in the background. But basically it's like this little light off of Amazon and it's so nice because it like clips onto my books and it's like a wireless, not wireless. It's a wire charger, like you hook it up to charge. So it's not like you have to buy batteries or anything. And it has like three different modes on it and the light is like pretty bright. Like I can like use it like as like a selfie light, honestly. And it has like a regular light, like a white light, a more like bluish tone light, and then like a warm yellowish one. I love the warm yellowish one, but I highly recommend it. It's from Amazon. Super easy, super cute. So yeah, that's my favorite of the week.
And my favorite of the week is also reading related, but it is just my evening reading time. I've been this week in the evening times really just like I'm like I look at my screen time and I'm like, okay, that's bad. I need to stop. And it's not even like terrible screen time, but I'm like it needs to be lower. Like that get it together, Elizabeth. And so I'm like I crack open my book, but I've been recently, if it's not like, if the weather's nice, which recently has been, I'll go outside in the backyard, which I do not take advantage of our backyard at all. And I'll like sit on our little like lounge chairs and just kind of prop up and just read. And then there's like a breeze and it's the perfect time. The only thing that's missing is if like the leaves were changing colors, it would be perfection. But I will read until the mosquitoes start eating me up, and then I go back inside and I read inside. The other day, I didn't last that long because I don't know why. The mosquitoes were out and they were coming for me. So I had to go inside. Me and the mosquitoes don't get along. But I've been really enjoying my evening reading time because I feel like that's like the time when I really just like wind down and like read because at night I get easily distracted with watching like a TV show or going on my phone. So then next thing I know, I'm going to bed and reading didn't happen for the day. So I've been really enjoying that.
Yeah, that's one thing I want to work on is putting more time in my day to read because I really only give it the give time to read during the night, and which is fine and all, but your girl gets tired easily. So I be hold on, let me wait for this truck to pass. Okay, it's gone now. So by the time I read, I can only read like a couple pages, and then like my eyes are like falling asleep. So I definitely want to incorporate like getting up maybe earlier or like reading between my breaks between my classes. But yeah, reading is a fall activity.
Also, how could I forget you guys? What should be my actual third of the week? If you haven't noticed, I found my glasses. I found them last night. So I really, well, not last night. I found them yesterday. So I think it's because I knew I was going to record and I had said that like maybe my goal is to have them at the next time we record. And I did. I had my glasses. I've completely found them accidentally too. That always happens. Whenever you need something, you don't find it when you need it. You find it like later on. But I was grabbing my laptop charger because I was going to take my laptop with me out and about. And my laptop charger is like kind of like behind my bed. And I look, and my glasses are on the ground behind my bed. I guess that night when they went missing, I did bring them upstairs, and I might have just like set them on my bed. So I probably like when I laid down, like knocked them off or something. But I did find my glasses, and I'm so excited because these don't be like sliding off my face. So very excited about that. That is my favorite of the week. Two favorites of the week.
And now we're gonna get into the sports corner. So this week we're gonna be recapping the Italian Grand Prix in Monza and what a race that was, you guys. Of course, we're gonna get into the race, but I do have to say the outfits that one day, I can't remember what day it was, maybe qualifying or one of the practices, we got that iconic picture of Rebecca, Alex, and Kika. Yep, that ape. And I saw another TikTok with Carmen as well, and they just all look so good together. I love them.
No, because one thing the F1 wags are going to do is they're going to pull out in style. They're going to make it about them without it being about them. They know exactly what they're doing with all their outfits. I don't know if they have like if they get styled because I'm feeling like they have to have these outfits like planned because it's like media day, the practices quali race day. So is it like do they have a stylist behind the scenes that's picking it all out? Is it all them? Whatever it is, they're always looking on top of it.
I feel like for at least the big three, the trio, I feel like they probably most likely do have a stylist. Maybe Carmen. I think she's not at races as much. I can just see her, picking out her own clothes. But yeah, I feel like if not all of the big three, at least like for sure Alex, because I know like she wears like her outfits are very intentional.
And I feel like the big three, the trio, the F1 trio, they just embody that like F1 like classiness that is F1. And they just always look so good in everything. And I love how it's like they know that they look good, but they're not like braggy about it. Like they're very subtle about it, but they know what they're doing.
And all you hear about them is just how nice they are. And I just love how you can tell like they're not there to like leech off the fame. Like they all three have like their own careers, things they got going on, but they're just there up to support. And it's like if we're getting photographed, might as well look good. And it's like a big race. It's Monza. That's where all the Ferrari fans come out. So yeah, I just love seeing them three together, and I just love seeing their fits.
The real reason we watch, it's for the F1 wags.
Know that part, but enough talk about that. Honestly, there wasn't any news that I recall that I thought would be interesting to talk about. Quali was same old quali, honestly. Max did score pole, which I was like, because Norris. Okay, I went into this race weekend really rooting hard for Norris, and he did have it before Max finished. I was like, yes, Lando, I know that's right. And then Max took it away. I was like, oh. But as you guys know, I am coming around Max, so I'm not mad. But he is in a Red Bull, so I do have to, root against him.
And Kennedy, if you guys listened to her I think it was the last week's Sports Corner, Kennedy gave away her what's it called? Her conspiracy theory about the Red Bulls and then coming for the McLarens and everything. Yeah. So this contributes to her conspiracy theory so far.
Exactly. And then that was all from quality pretty much. And then the race. So I'm just going to go in order based off our Instagram posts, which I'm going to plug because we posting race recaps on our Insta. But first, the first lap battles, you guys, I was glued to my iPad like I was genuinely so scared. I was audibly making noises like first like Lando like overtook Max like right away very soon, and they were just like so close, and then Oscar was overtaking Leclerc, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like, I'm just so scared someone's gonna crash. And there was just a whole bunch of battles like through the first lap and the first couple laps, and I'm like, you guys have me stressed, like please no one crash.
And they just continue to stress you out with the infamous pit stop and everything.
That part, which we'll get into later. And there actually was a collision later in the race, but it wasn't with anyone at the top. It was with Sainz and Behrman, which is interesting because Behrman actually ended up getting the penalty for that. But I feel like for me, it kind of looked more like a racing incident, but oh well. And then the controversial McLaren team order. So basically what happened, if you guys don't remember, just a refresher or you didn't watch, is basically, I didn't know this until the announcer said it, but the Pirelli tires, like it's kind of like funny because it's like over the years the drivers wanted these tires to be so good, but now they're almost too good that the drivers are kind of like complaining because it's like it's kind of hard to like kind of ruin them, I guess. And if it's a dry race, you are required to pit at least once. Like you have to compete on two different like tire compounds. And so it was getting towards the end of the race, but Oscar and Lando both haven't pitted yet. Max did pit, but so I think it was just like Lando who was in like provisional like first place, and like we knew that him and Oscar still had to pit. So you can like hear like they broadcast a few of the messages where Lando and his engineer were talking. I think Oscar too as well, but basically Lando kind of asked like some questions, and he kind of made a decision like, oh yeah, I think y'all should pit Oscar first because it was kind of like a team order type thing where it would help both of them because Oscar would pit first, so then he would come out ahead of Leclerc, and then the way it was supposed to happen was Lando would then pit second, which he did, but because something with his front left tire, I think, the mechanic like forgot to like tighten it, so he had to go back in, so there was like some time wasted, so that ended up having Oscar come out, or like Oscar be ahead of the pit lane as Lando was coming out. So he like essentially got I don't know what the term is, undercut, overcut, something like that, and which that wasn't supposed to happen. Lando was supposed to. So they made him switch places, and they reference Hungary of last year. And it's very controversial. In my opinion, I agree with the orders. And like, I'm both equally a Lando and Oscar fan, even though I was rooting for Lando this weekend, but like, Lando did swap positions with Oscar, and when he was in more of a fight last year, and again, same situation, team orders, but it just so happened that Oscar needed to swap positions, and they're both team players, and I just think it was a team order went wrong that they, had to correct, and I just don't think it was worth it to kind of argue it because they're both going to get P2, P3 anyways. So I just think rather just kind of like save yourselves rather than be a whole kerfuffle because like the gap was too big for them to catch up to Max.
Yeah, all I was gonna add was that if it had all gone smooth, they still would have only been battling for P2 and P3. They weren't really in the run anymore for P1, I feel like, because Max is already so ahead. So either way, I feel like they got the finish that was expected. A different story would have been if like Charles passed one of them, then okay, I understand why everybody's like mad and everything. But they weren't gonna get a P1 anyways, so a win is a win. And I'm glad that they did do like they played like Oscar let Lando pass him and everything, so it wasn't like a whole scenario like last season where they didn't. They were kind of battling it because he's I think it was Lando wasn't letting Oscar pass or something. So I'm glad that like they're doing their team play. They're both they yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Yeah, last year it was like Lando kind of had like a little attitude about it. He was like, well, tell Oscar to catch up, basically. But this time, Oscar, he was like, he had a little something to say, but it's Oscar. He's very like cool, calm, collected. So he's just like, basically, like, I don't understand this decision, but I'm gonna let him pass. And he did. And they did say they're free to race after that, but I feel like in Oscar's mind, it just wasn't worth it. I'm like, you're gonna race for what, one extra position? Like you're not really in the fight to win P1, but that was the controversy. Feel free down below to let us know what your thoughts are about it. But yeah, the race ends with Max winning, which is actually like crazy because this is only his third win of the season because we know Red Bull has been struggling, and then it was Lando P2, Oscar P3. And I love the cooldown room because honestly I always love the cooldown rooms because I just love to see the drivers actually like see what we see as the viewers and like kind of comment on it. But it was like even more interesting because like obviously it was just like Lando and Oscar in there, and just to see them like watch like the first lap and stuff was really interesting. But yeah, and a little fun fact that I saw on F1's Instagram was that this is Pirelli's 500th Grand Prix being like the tire people for F1. So I was like, period.
Oh, I was just gonna add that I thought it was funny. I'm sure you've seen Max's like radio comments to the whole situation, and he kind of like laughs. He's like, I forgot exactly what he said, but he like laughs. Like you can hear him like be like, kind of like side eye is what I imagine. And I just think that's very like Max branded and so on point for him, that reaction. Yeah, I thought that was like the highlight of the whole scenario.
Yeah, I cannot believe I almost forgot that because that had me LOLing when it happened like live. I was like, oh my gosh, F1, you are so messy for airing that. Yeah, his engineer was just like, oh yeah, like Lando had to give the place back. And Max, he like laughed. He was like, "Is it because of the slow pit stop?" I was like, "Ooh, not the shade." And then the guy was like, "It's none of our business, because obviously they know like we can hear everything, like we all have access to it." But I just thought that was funny. I'm sure within the next couple of days we'll hear more opinions about it. But yeah, I mean, I've already seen a lot between different F1 content creators and stuff, but me personally, it was just the right thing to do, keep things fair.
And then I feel like overall it was like a good race for everyone. The Ferraris, they didn't get their win at the home race, but they still finished way better than last season, and that did not finish at all. So I feel like they're doing really well. And then also Alex, he went from P14 to P7. So I feel like overall there was like wins all around for everyone.
I agree. There are a lot of positions gained between a lot of drivers, so that was really fun. And a lot of action like up and down the field, which I always love. But yeah, now that's all of our thoughts about the race, quality. So now we're going to give a little points update on our F1 fantasy. So just a quick little reminder, I had Max Verstappen and Carlos Sainz, and Elizabeth had Ollie Bearman and Kimi Antonelli. So for me, I gained 25 points for Max's first place, and then finished ahead a teammate also from Max. So I got 3 points from that. I unfortunately did not get any points from Carlos Sainz. He had a little bit of a rough race, but I now have 215 points. And then Elizabeth, she got 4 points. Wait, I think all of her points are from.
Kimmy.
Actually, wait, no. No, one's from Kimmy and one is from Ollie. I was like trying to remember the positions in my head real quick. I was like, wait, what? But yeah, so she got 4th through 10th place. Those 4 points from Kimmy, and then she got finished ahead of teammate from Ollie, which is 3 points. So she now has 113 points.
You know, I didn't realize how big the difference between us got. I feel like in my head I was like, okay, I'm finally in the hundreds, Kimmy's in the hundreds, and then we're like almost 100-point difference. But you know, a win is a win, as I've been saying these past few episodes. I gained points from both of my drivers, and that's all that matters.
And who knows, I could get a driver next week who ends up DNFing, and then I'm back in the 100s again because I get some points deducted. But who knows? But I don't want to keep this sports corner too long this week. But I do have to say one more thing. I'm obsessed with Ollie. Like, I swear every week I come in with a new rookie, and this week it's Ollie. Last week it was Isaac. Now it's Ollie.
No, because the rookies, they deserve all the attention that they get.
That part. But yeah, that was the Italian Grand Prix. And back to the episode. And now we're going to get into our pop culture. We do have a couple things to talk about this week. I'm going to go first with what I put on here because it will take like 5 seconds to talk about compared to the other like real business we have to talk about for this section. But yesterday, White Lotus season 4 will be set in France. Oh my god, sorry about my voice doing that. But they just announced that it'll be set in France, and I'm so excited. I assume it's gonna be like the south of France because it's gonna be like in a resort or whatever. But I'm so excited. I freaking love the White Lotus. I've watched all 3 seasons. And they just keep getting better and better. I think my favorite was season 2 though. And I'm super excited to see what they do in France. I know some people are disappointed. I know some people really want a snowy, like wintry season. But I'm like, they have so many seasons that they can run the show on for. Like, I'm sure they're gonna do a snowy destination at one point, but for now, we are enjoying the summer resort vibes.
I definitely need to like get back to watching that show, but I do think it's gonna be like south of France, like something like Nice setting, like the Gatorade blue water. Yeah, that's definitely gonna be the setting of the show. But on other pop culture news, we're gonna be talking about the Dancing with the Stars cast reveal. Me and Kennedy are not. We want to preface by saying we are not religious like Dancing with the Stars viewers. I think the most I watched was the season with Sochi, and she and Val won. I didn't even make it to the very end, but that's the most of like a Dancing with the Stars season that I've watched personally.
Yeah, I haven't seen a single Dancing with the Stars season ever. I don't even really know who the pros are. So I'm really a newbie. But before like I even saw the full cast, I just knew that Robert was gonna be in it. So I was like, of course I'm gonna watch. And then like also Alex Earl. And so then when the full cast released, I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely sitting down and watching this.
And I really thought I really wanted Robert and Riley to be together. Just because I feel like they would be like their chemistry I feel like would be so good. And not even like in a like lovey dovey chemistry type sense because she's like in a committed relationship and everything. But I just feel like they would have got so well along, and I feel like they're like right around the same age too. So I was really hoping for that pairing, but it didn't happen. And I did see someone talking about the Dancing with the Stars like pairings like overall, and they were saying how they think that like Riley didn't want really to be with Robert that much. Maybe because like she foresaw that like she would get shipped with him a whole lot. And like I said, she is in a relationship. So that could be like a little thing too of why that pairing didn't happen. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that one. I was really hoping for them to, but it's okay.
Yeah, as you guys know, I didn't watch, like I said, so I didn't really have any like, oh, I want this person to be with this person. But I think everyone like looks good together. Like I like for someone with no knowledge, I like whoever or I like the pairings. But I guess we could like go through a couple of them. Oh, also I was really excited because my Mormon wives are on the show. And if you listen to other episodes, you know I'm obsessed with that show. Oh my gosh, and Dylan Efron's gonna be in it. He's like having his moment. That's Zac Efron's little brother, for you that don't know. He like kind of blew up because he was on Traders, which that was a really good season, the one he was on. But yeah, I'll let Liz take it away with some of the couple pairings.
No, because I'm one of those people that did not know that that was Zac Efron's brother. I was like, who is this guy? Yeah, but then I realized the connection. I feel like they do not look alike because I was looking at him and I was picturing what Zac Efron looks like in my head, and I was like, I'm not seeing the resemblance. But yeah, I did not know who he was. But speaking of your Mormon wives, she got paired with he's new. He was, what's it called, Taylor Swift's like backup dancers, one of the dancers on the Eras tour. His name's Jen. No, Jen's the girl. His name's Jan. Yeah, Jen and Jan. I like the little ring of the name to it, but I'm intrigued by him because obviously he was like on the Eras tour. So he's like a really good dancer, and he blew up because people were like, "Who is this attractive man dancing back here?" But like I said, like the Eras tour isn't really like ballroom dancing, so we'll see how like that like transitions. And then, yeah, I don't really have much else to say. I feel like there's Alex Earl, who we all know. I feel like she's gonna make it far, and I feel like she's gonna be not a bad dancer because I feel like she's like someone who like applies herself and is competitive. And she kind of gives like she probably did dance when she was like young or something. So I feel like she'll go pretty far. And then there's like the athletes. The athletes always have a bad reputation because they are not like coordinated like with their feet. So I do think that the athletes are going to follow the normal trend. And there's one guy, I don't know his name, from Pentatonics. I didn't realize that was him until I saw like someone talking about it. I feel like he'll be like pretty decent too, because like when they're performing, they have like dances and stuff. So at least he can follow like a routine. So yeah, that's all I really have to say. I feel like Robert though will go pretty far. I have high hopes for him.
Yes, and back to the first Mormon wives, there's actually two of them on the show, and I feel like they're both like they're the ones where their content involves kind of like a lot of TikTok dances. So I'll be interested to see like how they fit in with the Dancing with the Stars vibes. But I agree, I do think Alex will go far, and honestly, I think Riley and the guy from Pentatonics will go far, and honestly Robert too. I was surprised that the girl who plays Topanga is in this cast as well, and Jordan Charles, I think, the gymnast. I was like, okay, did not see those coming. There are some older people. I was like, oh, I was like, I was not expecting you, but I'll be interested to see how far you get.
I feel like they do a good job for the most part of like appealing to a wide variety of famous people, of stars. So there is like I feel like a lot more like younger like influencers, and I feel like this season is the first season where there's really like a good amount of influencers. Like it's just not one person. We are at least like three because we have Alex and the two Mormon wives. So there's like at least those three like influencers, like the traditional like TikTok social media influencers. So I think it's gonna be interesting in later seasons how much like they still gear to like other age groups and everything. I do think that the older man will not be making it that far, but they do make it like a couple episodes in, I feel like for the most part. And yeah, that's all I have to say.
Oh my gosh, I'm like looking through the list and I totally forgot to say that also Meredith from the Parrot Tribe is also in this as well. I'm like, oh my god, not her being a dancer too.
No, because that's iconic. If she makes it to the Disney episode, I wonder if like they'll do like something like Parent Trap esque, because she in the movie we do not like her that much, but she's iconic in her own way.
That part. And then I know the girl from Fifth Harmony, I think she kind of got put in last minute because I don't see her in any of these things. I've seen her talk about it, but I'm interested to see how far she'll go as well.
Yes, I did see that she didn't get like the professional photos, but there was like a reel that or like a social media post that they came out that they were paired together. I forgot the name of the guy she's paired with, but I do think that she was like a last minute just because she didn't have like the professional photos like everybody else in the outfits.
Yeah, I think she literally just found out 2 days ago. But be prepared for weekly updates on Dancing with the Stars from me and Elizabeth.
Some updates might be a little short, but it's okay. And
That
then
part.
that's all we have for pop culture. I feel like recently pop culture, the girlies have been they've been tamed. Oh, Rhode Cosmetics is now in Sephora, and I was getting a lot of TikToks of people like rating it, and like it's like completely empty. I don't know, that was just like a little funny thing to note.
Yeah, I honestly I was not expecting. Like I knew, like I remember first when like Road coming to Sephora was like a little rumor, and so honestly I did not think it was happening until like next year or the year after. But I'm so glad it's here. I'm just so excited to go in person and like see the things, and especially like the skincare. But I'm like, let me wait a little bit. Let me wait a couple months for it to get its bearings done because I know people can't act right. I mean, we saw what happened with the toilet paper and paper towels during COVID time. So I'm like, a road coming to Sephora, yeah. Let me just not try to be up there anytime soon. But I'm so excited to shop that in person very, very soon.
Yeah, I think you might need to wait at least a month or so just so they can get back in stock with the supplies before they're gone again. Maybe go early in the day too.
Honestly, even more because it's the holiday season coming up. Everyone's gonna be asking for road stuff. So maybe next spring it will be good.
2026 is when Kenny will be going in.
No, for real.
And then we're gonna go ahead and move on to our what we're watching. I think we have almost the same amount of. Actually, no. Kenny's. There's one thing she has that's like three things. I think. Well, I don't know. I'll just go ahead and go into mine. So I finished Wednesday, the whole like part two that dropped. I was watching with my mom, so we were kind of like binging it. We finished it. I think the day it came out, and I loved part two so much more than part one. I feel like things were finally like coming like full circle with the show. I liked how they tied in like different details of just like the Adams family and kind of gave it like a little backstory significance to it. And then there was more of like the family dynamic because we got more of Morticia's mom in it. And yeah, I really did enjoy it. I think that Wednesday, like the girl, not the show, but she had some like development in different ways. Like we got some more like, I don't want to say human, we got more like emotions out of her a little bit, which I thought was cool to see. I really did like it. There is going to be a season three with that ending. There has to be a season three with that ending. Because let me say, I am salty about the ending, but I don't want to say anything because it will spoil why I am salty about it. But I did enjoy it. I also did like, my favorite part was when the principal, she came back kind of like a spirit ghost type thing. That's not a spoiler because she died in season one. If you don't know that, then you're kind of late for that. But I really liked her character in this like second part to the show, so really did like it. And then the other thing that I've been watching is of course Stranger Things. I finally made it to season two. I'm at the part right now where they're like kind of, Will is kind of making me mad because he is like just like anti Sadie Sink. I can't, oh, Max, that's her name. Like he just, they like meet up and he's like, only OG members can come in here. Like, bro, what is going on with you? He's just doing too much for me. And yeah. Oh, you guys, I watched the documentary that Kennedy watched last episode, and I definitely have some thoughts. So it's for a little refresher, it's the unknown number, the high school catfish. The ending. So Kennedy was talking about how like she was shook by the plot twist. No, y'all, that was an understatement. That was actually insane. I don't know if Kennedy, if we want to go in depth a little bit more.
Yeah, we can't. I don't know why I put it for me this week again because I literally watched it last week. But yeah, we can definitely go in depth. We'll do a little spoiler warning because I feel like by now a lot of people have watched it. But just in case, little spoiler warning. Skip ahead just in case. But wow, that plot twist. I went into the documentary knowing it was the mom, but like I wanted some reasoning for it. I'm like, so what was her motive? Like what? And even now, I just still have so
No
many questions.
motive. No, because I went in completely blind and I didn't know. And when I found out it was the mom, I feel like I was even more shook it was the mom because obviously, like, why would a mom do that? Just like the first layer of shock. But then the second layer of shock for me was they had me fooled because I didn't think that the person that like did it was going to be being interviewed throughout this documentary. And the way she was interviewed, like in the beginning, where she's like acting like all innocent, like before like we know it's her, she's kind of like, I feel like giving in that information to make her look like a victim and everything, make her look like a good parent, a concerned parent. And then it's complete 180. And I was like, that's crazy that they're like interviewing her and she's guilty. Like she did this and she's kind of just like telling her story. I think that was what was craziest to me is while I understand what they were trying to do, like while with having her in it and trying to make it more suspenseful of like who it was, I feel like they shouldn't have included the mom in it because she's clearly some psycho sociopath, whichever one of the two it is, like socio psycho. She might be both for all we know. But it's actually insane that they kind of like interviewed her, gave her a platform to talk, just because what she did was actually crazy. Just the disgusting messages she was sending to her daughter and the daughter's boyfriend. Keep in mind they're like, I don't know how old they were. They were young, like high school, like freshmen, I think, barely freshmen maybe. And then to the fact she was telling her daughter to like kill herself, yeah, that she's insane.
Yeah, they were like, I think it was like middle school, beginning of high school, that type of age. They're like 13 years old, I think, when it first started, which is actually crazy. And like, even the way the documentary was shot, like before the reveal, it had me like low key second guessing myself. I was like, is there another Kendra? Because like all I saw on social media was like Kendra and like Kendra did it, and then like something about like a mom. So it's like, oh, maybe she's somebody else's mom. So it's like, oh, there might be another Kendra. But then I was like, oh no, like it is this Kendra, and I definitely think she probably felt like, I don't know, you can tell she doesn't really think her actions were that big of a deal, which really bothers me. Like, she's just like, yeah, it's kind of like drunk driving. Like, no, babes, you were literally harassing two 13-year-old children. And I definitely think she got off kind of easy for it. I can't remember, but I don't even think she got like a year of prison, I think, something like that. Not very long at all. And it's like, I don't know, just like when you really deep it and think about what she was sending to these young kids, like especially when you see pictures of them to really see how young they were, and she was just causing all this emotional turmoil. And then like just to think that she was probably, comforting her daughter and like being in with like, oh, like we really need to find who it is, going to the police and stuff like that. It's just really sick. And I sent Liz this TikTok earlier, which I feel like you guys should definitely like look up on TikTok, where this girl's like, I read a cut article about it, and it basically like goes into more detail that the documentary didn't go into. And like Kendra was like really inserting herself in Owen's life. Like I'm talking about being like a coach for one part, and just like being at the school a lot for no reason, just always making an excuse, which is just so weird. And like I think parents were very like suspicious of her. Like they just did not really like her. I'm like, for good reason. She was definitely very weird.
And then she definitely had like, I think she had the thing where like with her daughter, she was very controlling in the sense of like she wanted to control how her daughter felt and then also just like be the hero for her daughter. So I think that's like some psychological messed up stuff that she has like in a mother-daughter relationship. But then in terms of Owen, she definitely had an obsession with him because the fact that they're like broken up, like they're not even talking to each other, they're both living their own lives or like attempting to live their own lives. And she continued these messages, but then what got me is he literally gets a girlfriend in another town, not even their town. And she finds the number and like starts harassing that girl. Like that's definitely some messed up as to level of obsession that like she wanted him or something. I don't know. That's just disgusting. And yeah, I was still like whenever I get TikToks of it, I feel like I get like chills just thinking about like how that could be real. Just like because then I think of just the mother-daughter relationship and the fact that she inflicted like willingly that harm onto her daughter. And then what got me was the drunk driver comparison. That was just like, because she was basically saying, like, if you get caught, you get caught. Like, okay, so you're not remorseful at all about this. And then when the whole, like, like telling her daughter to, like, kill herself and everything, she was like, I knew she wouldn't do it. Like, I knew she wouldn't do it. How do you, like, 100% know she wouldn't do that? Because in that kind of like scenario, if she really like was going through it and everything, like it could have brought her to taking her life and everything, but she knew she wouldn't do it. So that was just like actually insane.
And the thing with her finding Owen's new girlfriend, she was also messaging the girlfriend's mom as well. And it like another thing that doesn't make sense, because I think they asked her like, why'd you do it? And she was like, oh, like my trauma, I wanted to protect her. So if your whole goal is to protect Lauren, why are you going after Owen's new girlfriend and his girlfriend's mom? Owen's out of her life. So what more do you have to do with this kid? So it's like, again, I think she truly, like Liz said, had an obsession with him. And I think it stemmed for her weird relationship obsession she had with her daughter. I think she was kind of wanted to live through her daughter in a way and was probably like really jealous of her daughter, and that's what like led into it.
Basically, an insane documentary if you guys haven't watched. I just didn't think it would like go to that level of craziness when I first started.
The messages were definitely something. And then for me, literally the same three things: Stranger Things, Desperate Housewives, and McBee Dynasty. But I did watch K pop Demon Hunters the other day while I was taking out my braids. And you guys, it was so cute. It was like a cute little movie. I'm really excited for the second movie. Honestly, I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. Like, I was like, oh yeah, like, everyone's liking it. But I was like, I was sad. I was shook. I don't want to have it. I don't want to say any spoilers because some people haven't watched it yet, Kelsey. But yeah, it's really good. So if you haven't watched it, watch it. The songs are fire. I really like the animations. And I honestly surprised I haven't listened to the soundtrack yet. Like again, but like I definitely will probably today.
And now we're gonna get into, of course, our semi-term pretty deep dive, you guys. Episode 9, I believe, is what came out. Yeah, episode 9. We have some differing thoughts, I think, on this episode. We have like similar thoughts, but then there's some things where we're a little bit different on our thoughts. So I'll let Kennedy take it away first.
Honestly, I don't know. Like, I liked it. It's not like an episode I was obsessed with, but like, I enjoyed myself while watching it. My only notes honestly while watching was so no one knew she went to Paris. Like, sis just went to Paris and like no one knew where she was. And I feel like Laurel should have just told them that she went abroad, but like just don't contact her. Like she needs space right now, which valid. Like she just blew up her whole life kind of. And then another part was not Conrad showing up. I'm sick because as you guys know, Belly saw him in the airport. I was like, Belly, say something. But she didn't, which like I understand. Like she just kind of needs to get away from everybody, which I think everyone in this show needs space from each other at this point. But Conrad, like they want Conrad to be the villain so bad, but he was at the airport. He could have easily just gone to California and cut everybody off. But no, he still came back and checked up on Jeremiah. And the only reason they knew how to take care of Jeremiah was because of Conrad. Like, Conrad is the hero, and you guys will not paint him as the villain.
No, because to touch base on what Kennedy said, first, the not finding her, yeah, like does Taylor not have her on like Life 360, Find My Friends? Like what kind of friendship is that? Because believe I have all my friends' locations. And I'd be checking up on them, making sure that they're alive, making sure that they're in their usual locations. And I do think Laurel, like I understand like Belly wanting to be alone and all that kind of stuff, but I do think Laurel definitely should have been like she's okay, like don't worry, like I know where she's at, she's taking some time, some space. She doesn't have to tell them like where she's at or anything, but definitely feel like she should make a little comment. But also I feel like the friends and the family isn't as worried, therefore like they haven't like gone to Laurel and been like, have you heard from her, like where is she? Like they just kind of like they were like, okay, we don't know where she's at, anyways, we can't do anything about that, let's move on. Like they don't seem that concerned about where she's at, I feel like. So I feel like that kind of contributes. I definitely, maybe if they went to Laurel and were like more concerned, maybe she would be like, it's okay, like I've heard from her. But since they're not doing that, Laurel's just not going to bring it up type. I don't know. They're just I'm not vibing with them not being that concerned personally. And then the second thing, the Conrad stuff. Oh my gosh. The amount of times Conrad has been either on his way to the airport, he has booked a flight, he has been in the airport this season, going back to California, and he hasn't. It's been at least like 3 times where Conrad's like, okay, I'm leaving, like I'm getting out of here. And he doesn't. He doesn't leave. And these people want to paint him as the, not the victim, as the villain. Mm-mm. Yeah, because Conrad is anything but the villain, I feel like, in this show.
No, and it made me sick how they were letting Jeremiah play the victim. Like, okay, boo-hoo, your feelings hurt, blah, blah, blah. But this wedding was not gonna pull through anyways. Y'all low-key was both having doubts before y'all even walked down the aisle. The marriage, if it went through, wasn't gonna last. Like Belly just saved y'all a bunch of time. Like, Conrad, he's not even really the root of the problem. Like y'all, the root of the problem is that y'all don't belong together in the first place, and y'all had a bad relationship. Jeremiah cheated on you twice. Bella, you was second guessing yourself. You're in love with his brother, and somebody on TikTok pointed out something funny. How it's like they're all mad at Conrad, but technically Belly was with Conrad first. So I was like, ooh, clock that T. But yeah, I'm just like, Jeremiah, you really don't like her that much. Like, stop trying to put on this, like I love her, I can't live without her you can live without her and you can sleep without her because you did that in Cabo. So
That part that he's not ready for that conversation. And also, Jeremiah, I was feeling no pity for that man, honestly. Like, I understand his emotions. Okay, valid, valid. But that does not make him have to like take it upon himself to literally be a bully, a villain to Conrad, because the way he was like, I'm so happy I'm the one that gets to tell you, like putting him down and everything. Like, okay, sir, let's not forget everything Conrad's done for you and continues to do for you to this day. And honestly, I liked the conversation that Adam and Conrad had, their little like heart to heart moment, because I feel like we haven't seen much of Adam as a dad, and I feel like he kind of like explained like why in his defense, because he knows that like he wasn't what Conrad needed, so he stepped back from the situation. So I like that he gave him that advice, because Conrad definitely needs to step back from the situation. Like, he can't keep on like getting down on his hands and knees for these people if it's not going to be like reciprocated. If it's not what they need, then he needs to take a step back. So I did like the little heart to heart moment, and it kind of like gave us a little bit more insight. Like, while I do not necessarily, I'm not defending Adam here, you guys. Don't get me wrong. But I do think it gave us some insight into kind of like his relationship with Conrad, and then in terms of like Susanna and like the passing and all that kind of stuff. So I did like the little heart to heart moment, which I feel like next episode is when we're gonna get more like Conrad, because I feel like we got more Belly this episode, like in her finding herself and everything. But I feel like it's like a step in that direction.
on the Jeremiah note, I hated how rude he also was to Laurel. Like, don't be mad at her because Belly doesn't want you. Like, that's just so rude. And like, I get, again, your feelings are hurt, but you don't have to take that out on other people. And like, someone on Twitter pointed out, like, when he said like, your precious Belly, like that was like a dig, which was just like so uncalled for. And yeah, I definitely, the talk with Adam and Conrad was like kind of funny to me. But also, I feel like this is the episode where we honestly kind of see like Adam kind of really step up and in a more father role, because he had that talk with Conrad, but then we saw him comfort Jeremiah at the end. So I'm like, wow, he's finally acting like a dad. Finally. But it was funny when Laurel and Adam were kind of like cleaning up the aftermath of like the wedding not going through. And like Laurel, she was putting him in his place. And I was like, period. Because Adam, he was like, he was getting a little slick with his mouth. I was like, Adam. But Laurel gathered him up. But yeah, but most of the episode was like Belly in Paris, which I personally liked, and I was trying to pick up on how much French I could I could understand.
No, because Laurel, if one there's one thing about her, she's gonna put you in your place when you're in the wrong. She does not care. And then also, oh yeah, what I was gonna say was, I feel like the Adam whole thing, I feel like Conrad has always been like his own kind of like fatherly figure in a way. Like, he's always been the one that steps up. Like for Jeremiah, I feel like Adam hasn't had to like really step up that much, because Conrad's always like beat him to it type thing. But this is the first time where like he's telling Conrad like, no, like you don't need to do this. And so I did like that part. And then like the pair stuff. So I just felt like I feel like it all could have been a quick little montage, where it all could have been cut down to 15 minutes instead of just like an hour of like Belly running around Paris. While I do understand like the whole like the metaphor and everything of like it's Belly finding herself, like the bear tag is named Belly or whatever, so it's like her finding herself and like being alone and everything. I do think she needs to be alone, but I don't know. I feel like it was just kind of like unrealistic to me. And people are going to say like this whole show is unrealistic. Well, yes, there is things that are unrealistic. I just feel like this specific episode was very like unrealistic to me, in the sense of like, even when she walked in and she was like, oh, I'm a student, and then they were like, but where's your visa? I feel like they would have shipped her back. They wouldn't even let her into Paris if she was claiming to be a student without like her visa and everything. I don't know, it was just like all over the place. Also, like the school stuff, I feel like she should have stood her ground and been like, you're letting me in here because you guys messed up and I literally came here. Like, that's not my fault. You better give me something. I don't know. I feel like she should have stood on business more there. And then I don't know. I just felt like it was kind of like all over the place. And I kind of wanted more of like a quick montage of like her finding herself. She's staying in Paris for a little bit, and then like getting to know more of like the friends and everything. Which I'm just kind of like, I'm saying this because we only have like 2 episodes left, and I feel like we still have a lot to go. So that's kind of why I'm like, I feel like we wasted some time here.
Now this is where we differ. This is where we have beef for the real time, guys. JK. But for me, those are valid. But for me, I think it's because, and I'm not gonna speak for every reader because I know there are people who read the books who have similar views to Liz. But for me, because when it's like an adaptation, it's either the book has more like details or the adaptation has more details, and like the adaptation has more details because obviously the books weren't that long. So for me, I'm like, this is like what I wanted to see. This is what I wanted to know more of while I was reading. Like, I wanted to see Belly during her study abroad, meeting new people, blah blah blah. Honestly, I didn't really like care for necessarily the metaphors in the episode. I'm just like, whatever. Like, I just want to see Belly in Paris, and I just hope in the next episode we see like just like Conrad and I was gonna say Jeremiah. I don't care about that man. Just see like Conrad figuring out his life in California and all that stuff. Like, I don't think it's gonna be like a whole because usually in romance movies, like they don't get together to like the very end, and we just have to live with our imagination. But yeah, I just think it's just gonna be mostly like them finding themselves for the next couple episodes, and then like the last like 30 minutes of the last episode will probably be like them like, oh, we're finally together, and then like maybe like a little flashback. But yeah, honestly, I have no complaints.
I hope the next episode though is like them finding themselves like side by side, kind of like obviously like separate, but we get like okay, clips of Conrad, clips of Belly, and not just like one or the other. Because like I said, we do only have 2 episodes left, you guys. Like there's limited time, and I feel like we have a lot to wrap up. Also, my other complaint with this episode was the whole Steven and Taylor. I feel like it could have just been a like okay conversation. Like okay, I did like how like Taylor kind of like explained like why she has or like why she acts the way she acts in relationships. But I feel like it could have been that, a quick kiss, and we're done. We didn't need like all the scenes that we got of them. That was like minutes that could have been devoted to like Conrad or like Belly maybe doing something else. I don't know. But I'm just like not as Steven and Taylor stan. So I know some people might have really enjoyed those scenes, but like the focus is the summer I turned pretty, as in Belly turned pretty, as in we don't need all of the Taylor stuff. But yeah, that was my other little complaint.
Honestly, the Taylor and Steven stuff were like my phone times. So like I totally missed that whole conversation. But I do remember them waking up on the couch together. I was just like, not y'all back at it already again. But I don't know. I just kind of ignored them. I thought it was fun. I was like, well, at least some people are having a good time. But yeah, those are all my thoughts for the episode.
Yeah, very much like just hit those little skip forward and they were making out and everything. And with that, you guys, oh wait, our song of the week. How could we forget? Song of the week. I'm sorry. So my song of the week is this is I think the last song of the week that I'm gonna have from the K-pop Demon Hunters playlist, or not playlist, soundtrack, but it's Soda Pop, you know. This is the song that the guys sing and everything, and I like this song. I like the Korean parts of the song. I have no clue what they're saying, but I like how it sounds. But here's my favorite part. And that's my song of the week.
And my song of the week is, of course, a Sabrina Carpenter song. Like, y'all know how much I like that album if you listened last week. And one of my top faves is House Tour. So I'm going to play it. There's like 2 parts of the song I really like, but this is like the first part, the basic chorus, I guess you could say. Tell me that's just not a song you just don't want to dance to. Like, come on. So good.
And really quickly, I did do my little second listen through of the soundtrack, the album. Oh my gosh, my words, you guys. And it's growing on me. There are some songs that I did like more that I think will be getting added to the playlist. My thoughts are still the same, but second run through, there are some songs where I'm like, okay, I like how this sounds and everything.
And now, you guys, it is time to announce that it is officially fall at the Girls Lounge headquarters. And so that means we have to come to you guys with a fall ins and out list from us two. And then we're also going to go into a little bit of a Q3 recap and talk about, what we achieved over the last quarter. And yeah, so we're just going to give a couple of our ins and outs for each of us and then go right into the Q3 recap. So I'll let Elizabeth go first because she has less than me, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so my like big thing is a category and then have like things under it. So my main fall in is little hobbies and just doing things for like myself out of enjoyment. So what I like, even I feel like a lot of like individual tasks, these can definitely be done like in a group, but just finding little hobbies that I can do like alone in my alone time, because right now I feel like I'm in my like not my hibernation era, but definitely like in my own like individualistic time because I feel like everybody's like doing their own thing, and then Jill's like my friend Jill, our friend Jill. She's like out and about. She's in Chicago now. So she used to be like the person that would like, oh, I'm bored. Let's go do this or let's go do this. Or she would pick me up and do that kind of stuff. So I feel like I'm finding a lot of things like to do like on my own that I enjoy because just because you're alone doesn't mean that you don't have to be like enjoying things and be bored out of your mind, you know? So some of the things that I want to like bring in more for the fall, and I feel like they're just like kind of like cozy fall vibes, is coloring. Kennedy has taken this on, and I want to get some little of those like little friend, I don't know what they're called, those little coloring books that everybody has on TikTok, and then the markers and everything, and then you just like sit and just relaxation, like de-stress and everything. I also want to do more baking this season. I actually baked cookies last night and they turned out really good. So, more baking is what I want to do. Reading outside, weather permitting, especially with it getting like cooler and it not being hot. I think it's the perfect time to just be outside with like a little breeze and a little like cozy blanket. Yeah, that kind of vibe is exactly what I'm going for. Fun drinks and not necessarily like anything like alcoholic, just like a fun like little poppy that you crack open and like not drinking it just out of a can. You like pour it into like the fun little glass and everything, like making little coffees or like matchas, lattes, like that kind of stuff. Setting the mood in my room. So like candles and then the lighting and then like a cute like movie, a show. And then my other one is yes, buying more Sunny Angels because that's something that I find enjoyment of. So basically, it's all just things that I can do on my own and it's fun and it's very simple things, but like you make it fun. So I think that's like my motto for the fall.
So, my ends for fall is first school life balance, especially with me being an online student. It could be really easy for me, even more so that I'm now that I'm home for my whole life to just revolve around school. That's something I also struggled with in undergrad. Like, I would just give like a lot of myself to school, which would leave me burnt out. But at least like I feel like at school, I could just like easily go to different spaces, just kind of like reset. But my whole school, my whole everything is like in my room. So I definitely want to work on a school life balance, put in some more like time blocks and stuff where it's like, okay, this school time. Outside of this, no school time. So just really work on that. Oh, okay. I typed something in wrong and it confused me. I said getting read every day. What I meant to say was getting reading in every day. I kind of talked about this earlier, but I mean, I do pretty much read every day, but not a lot because I save all my reading for the night. So probably honestly have to incorporate just waking up a bit earlier and setting aside like an hour, hour and a half to just like read in the morning, the quietness before everyone wakes up, that type of vibe. Next, I want to incorporate more self care slash hobby nights. So that would be like, doing a face mask and while settling in, maybe coloring or just, coloring while watching TV. Just like anything of that nature, because self care is something that I definitely like lack on, but I want to do better at because it is enjoyment. But sometimes I feel like wow, this takes up a lot of time. So like to hopefully pass the time, do other things that make me happy while, getting my face mask done, painting my nails, things like that. And then, I mean, I'm always a big advocate for mindless TV, but even more so in the fall time, which kind of like ties into my hibernation bullet point, but just like mindless TV, like girl, if I just want to sit in bed all day on the weekend and watch reality TV, then I'm gonna do it. If it makes me happy, watch my little Desperate Housewives. And then next, hibernation. Honestly, I'm always a homebody, but even more so in the winter and fall. Like I just want to be inside by myself. I wouldn't necessarily say isolation because sometimes when I'm in my isolation era, that's when things get a little spooky, scary for me. But just like hibernation, I'm like, no one call, no one text. I'm on my own. I'm just like, oh, you guys, I just want to be in my room and just hibernate like a bear. That's what animals are supposed to do. We just naturally go into hibernation mode when it gets in the colder months. I want to pick up journaling again, like consistently. Like I've been so bad with journaling. You guys, like I need to catch it up on all my summer travels, and it's already almost fall. Like I need to get it together. And then, like Liz, Sunny Angels, and just in general, like buy my little trinkets because it makes me happy. And then just I want some fall activity days. I feel like every year I'm like, oh, like I want to do this during the fall I go into the pumpkin patch, take cute pictures, but then I never do it. So hopefully this year I can get some good like fall spooky activities in.
No, because I definitely think that there is a difference between hibernation and isolation. We're not talking like isolation, like we're forced to be alone and it's depressing. We're talking like hibernation, just like enjoyment and being alone. I feel like was what I think of in hibernation, just doing your own thing and you're like okay with being alone, like you want to be alone. That's like I feel like the perfect like fall vibe, especially like in the evening times. Like you just want to be. It's not even like late. Like it's 8 p.m., 7 p.m., but it's time to hibernate into like get into your routines. And I feel like that for me is like embodies fall and winter vibes. And then the other thing, fall activities are happening, Kennedy. The other day I was texting Kennedy and Kelsey and I was like, you guys, I just saw like a walking like a ghost tour. Like we should do this. And they said yes. So this is we're putting out there. We're doing fall activities because I feel like fall activities are finally like you can be outside and it's not miserable outside. It's not like sticky before it gets winter when you can't be outside because it's freezing outside and there's snow everywhere. So fall activities are going to happen. I'm just gonna show up and pick up you up one day, Kennedy, and be like, "This is a fall activity."
I mean, I'll be ready, maybe. I just might need 30 minutes. But yeah, I had to do the distinction between hibernation and isolation because one thing about me, sometimes I think I take things too far. So like I'll say hibernation era, the next thing you know, my mind's wanting to isolate myself. So, I have to keep that reminder. We're hibernating, we're not isolating ourselves.
Exactly, and that's why you can't say no to when I text out any plans because you're not in isolation, you're in hibernation.
Period. I'll be ready.
And then next up, we're gonna do our fall outs. So for me, it is bed rotting for too long in the morning. Don't get me wrong, I do need, especially on the weekends, I feel like I need that moment where I just kind of like I'm awake, but I don't want to get out of bed yet. But we're going to do max, I feel like 30 minutes. Max an hour at most, you guys. No more just like next thing you know, it's already like 12 and I haven't ate breakfast. I haven't got up to use the bathroom yet. I haven't washed my face or anything. Yeah, we're not doing that no more, you guys. Max an hour of bed rotting, and that's a stretch. I want to be like, not even necessarily like up and going, like go, 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 but just like enjoying my morning more, not in bed necessarily. My other one is postponing the inevitable. I can't even say that word. That's how scary it is. But no more just like putting it off, I'll get to it later. I'll get to it eventually. It's gonna happen. So I gotta face it. And I'll go into that a little bit more in my Q3, like or what I want to do for Q4 and everything. And then no more bottling up the stress. I feel like I've been really bad about just like letting it build because I've been postponing stuff. And then next thing you know, I like someone says something and I feel like I'm having like a breakdown internally. Yeah, no more bottling it up. Finding like ways to not bottle it up to get it out there. So like maybe like getting into journaling, like Kennedy said, or even just like the coloring thing. I feel like the coloring thing is gonna be so nice. I'm buying that stuff this week, you guys. And then oh, here we go. Not doing some type of physical exercise. That is out for this next fall season and just kind of like setting it in for like future and everything. So it doesn't even have to be like necessarily like going to the gym every single day, but doing some type of physical exercise, whether that be a walk, a run, the gym, a workout video on YouTube, just something where I'm like doing some physical manual exercise. At least 30 minutes I feel like is good. Just get your body up and moving. And then my last out is staying inside all day. Even if I like don't necessarily like leave my home, I do want to go like outside, like I said, like read outside or like I don't know, do something outside or go on a walk or something, but not just like stay inside all day. Those are all of my outs, and I feel like it's going to like contribute to just better standard of living for myself. I don't know, I can't think of the word.
Yeah, staying inside all day is definitely something I need to work on. It's just so easy, especially with class. I'm like, I'm already here. Why go outside? But my out is similar to Liz. My first one is just like not having a workout routine, especially because it's so easy nowadays. Like everything's on YouTube for free. At my house, we have a treadmill, we got weights, we have bands, so like there's really no excuse. I just get so lazy. That's my biggest downfall is how lazy I am. But okay, it's not necessarily lazy, but it's I don't have any discipline. That's where I lack. I need to work on building up discipline. Because motivation is not going to carry you all the way. So yeah, not having a workout routine, like I truly have no excuse. Like I have everything I need to indoors. So I don't even have to go outside, especially because the colder months are upon us. So that's definitely something I want to work on very, very soon because I just love being active. It makes me just feel better physically and mentally. And then again, similar to Liz about bottling up the stress, I need to have an outlet when I get overwhelmed. So out is not having an outlet, which I guess I do have outlets, but then sometimes I get so overwhelmed that all I want to do is lay down and do nothing. So I need to, instead of not doing anything, I need to do something to take that energy into. And then my next is not taking advantage of resources to better my career. In undergrad, like I would take advantage of some, but I wouldn't necessarily, go out my way to do a whole bunch. But like I'm in my last year of grad school, or my first and last year of grad school, and I know this year is gonna go quick. I'm gonna have to start thinking about job searching and stuff in the winter time. And so I'm like, these last like months that I have access to all these like career resources, I should put to use. So, like, for example, I just signed up yesterday for a career workshop that they're doing for the whole month of September for every Tuesday. So I'm like, it's free. Why not do it? And there's a virtual option. And it's like some stuff I may know, but like some stuff I may not know. So just like be open to it, take advantage. Get in contact with those career counselors. Like they're there for a reason. It's where my tuition's going towards. So why not take advantage of it? And like these people are here to help me. So again, why not take advantage? Next is being quote unquote scared of language learning. I'm not scared of other languages, but it's like I get a little bit like performance anxiety if I have to speak it, you know what I mean? And I have like so many like things, like other things outside of Duolingo that I have ready to like help me learn. But like sometimes I just get like so overwhelmed or just like who am I really learning a second language? You know what I mean? I kind of like get into my head about it. So like no, like if you want to learn a second language, do it then. Like don't be scared to it. So I need to not be scared of it and just like do it, take time. That could be like another hobby to pick up. Instead of just being like, oh yeah, I'm just doing it to keep up my Duolingo streak, like really just lean into it. Next is letting other people's actions affect me more, so like can't expect yourself from others. I feel like that just honestly speaks for itself, and just kind of like setting boundaries for myself on how I show up for other people. I guess you can say like don't let other people's actions, no matter how serious or unserious, affect you just because it's something that you wouldn't do. And then next is imposter syndrome, but reverse, because I need to learn how to live in the moment, which I feel like doesn't make sense, but in my mind it makes sense. Like what I said earlier about how I feel like in my program, at least during the first couple classes, I'm like, I feel like I'm not really gonna learn anything. So it just keeps me from being a little bit engaged. And I'm just kind of like, ugh, I can't wait for this to be over. So that's like me thinking towards the future. But I'm like, no, like just take this as an opportunity. If you do know everything, just take it as like, oh, it's a refresher before you go out in the real world soon. It's like it can give you a chance to like look at things from a different way. So yeah, just kind of look at it from a different moment. And then my last out is not having a morning routine because I don't really have one that's like good. So like I need to have a better one. I've listened to podcasts about these two girls who are like detailing their 8 a.m. versus 6 a.m. morning routine. I'm like, I need to get on that wave. I'd be waking up at 9 o'clock because like I don't really have to be up that early for my classes, but like I just like to get up early. But I don't really have like a routine. So that's definitely something I really want to work on.
No, because emphasis on like the routine thing. I want to have like the TikTokers that like do like their little morning and like they make it not aesthetic, but they have like they wake up, they get their coffee, they get their drink, they do like their I don't know like some of them do like Bible like journaling and stuff. Some of them read like do the little thing. They wash their. I want to have like one of those like aesthetic looking morning routines where it's like okay, I get up and I know what I'm doing next. And I know like you were gonna say like social media like they're faking it like it's only for that video. But I feel like, I want to aspire to not fake it, to like have that kind of vibe going on.
Right, like I want that to be my lifestyle. I want that to be my reality. And it's like it's not even like necessarily like oh the aestheticness of it, but it's like they have a reason, they have something to look forward to. When they wake up, it's like, oh, I'm excited to wake up early because that means I get my nice coffee. I get to journal, blah, 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 blah. But I don't do anything in the morning. So I'm just like, well, I got to get ready. So just like I need to find things to kind of spice up my morning.
Maybe this is your sign, Kennedy. You need to start making those YouTube videos, those TikTok videos, so then it forces you to find something to do.
Maybe. That might be an idea. Follow me on TikTok, guys.
And then we're gonna go ahead and get into our little Q3. So we're gonna do just like the things that we accomplished in Q3, and then once we like both do it, then we'll kind of do like anything that we want to bring in that's different for like Q4. So a little recap: Q3, because I just did the math. It was July, August, and then July, August, and September, right?
I'm going to believe you because I don't know.
I think so. July, August, and September it was, or like yeah, whatever. The past 3 months was our Q3 quarter three, and so we're gonna go just like what we did. Kennedy, you can go first.
Yeah, so honestly, my recap is pretty short, but I mean, I did go to New York City, which was good, but I knew I was going there. So I'm like, could that really be like a goal that I really accomplished? Because I knew I was going there at the beginning of the year, but still something I checked off. I remember in the last Q3 recap or like a summer ins and out, something like that, I said like we are not doing this whole not driving anymore. And I did accomplish that until, I crashed. But but I was proud of myself for actually like, oh, like yeah, I can drive. I'm comfortable driving. So that was something I accomplished. And then I have been better with showing up for myself and whatever that means to me in the moment. So I've been proud of that accomplishment because I know that's something I've talked about in the other quarterly recaps. So I've been better about that, thankfully.
And then mine is also going to be short. But Q3, similar to Kennedy, I went on a trip. I went to Cabo with my family. That was something like a Kennedy I knew. Like it wasn't something that was spontaneous or anything. It was something that was planned. So that happened. But what happened. So I feel like it counts. We did something. And then the other thing that I know I talked about in like my Q2 that I was like kind of like getting more used to like being at home because it was my first like official quarter of like being at home, and not being abroad. So I think I have gotten like, although my routine do be changing up and everything, I have gotten more into like the swing of things of just being back home and everything, of doing different things, of like working with my parents, like helping out doing this thing, just doing like kind of different things like that. I have not finished yet, but I did start redoing my room. Because like that's a space I'm gonna be in for a little bit. So I want to like make it more me, kind of like Kennedy. She was my inspiration for that. But I did kind of start doing some things. So I got like new furniture. I took out furniture that I knew I wasn't using and just kind of like was just keeping stuff in it. So I got rid of that. So I've been doing like little things like that. I do need to continue with the progress of it. I think next up is going to be like doing like my walls and everything. But anyways, that's Q4 talk. And then yeah, that's kind of like what I've been up to for Q3. I feel like honestly it went by really really fast because I was like going through my camera roll because I feel like that's where like I remember and jog my memory on things, and it went by really fast. I hung out with friends. We did like last minute like summer hangouts and things like that, which was so nice. But yeah, that's what I was up to in Q3.
Yeah, now for things that we want to, work on in Q4. Honestly, probably most of the outs I talked about. I just overall just want to create better routines in my life and just be more productive, maybe more healthier in a way, especially because like my parents are kind of going through like a health phase. Well, they've been going through it, but they're trying to be healthy now. And so that means I have to be healthy. Or not I have to be healthy, but it's like because my parents are obviously healthy, like that's what I'm around. So it's like it just kind of is like secondhand, like how people have secondhand smoke. It's like secondhand wanting to be healthy. So I'm like, ugh, now they working on it. Now I have to work on it. So that's pretty much just bettering myself, essentially, is what I want to work on in Q4 and just like really taking time for myself.
And then I want to do the exact same thing Kennedy's doing, getting it together, doing that kind of stuff. But also, I am like I have started to kind of like, I'm not sure like what I want to work in, but I have kind of started to look at like jobs and things. And I'm like, this isn't like the Lord's hands. I submitted, you guys are the first ones to hear this. I did submit an application for something the other day. And I'm like, if it happens, then this is like what the path for me next is, even if it's not like a forever path. I feel like a lot of people like overlook that and they think like, oh, like when you get into something like it's forever, like you can't like switch it up and everything. But like maybe even if it's for like a couple years, that's the path. But like if I don't get it, then it's like, okay, I can check that off of my list and move on to like the next thing that might be a possibility. So I did kind of like start doing that. I didn't want to include like my Q3 because I literally started doing it like last night and yesterday. But in this next quarter, I'm going to start like taking it more seriously and doing that. And that goes with my out of postponing the inevitable. Yeah, I can't postpone no more. But so yeah, so we're slowly kind of like figuring out and just like if it works out, then it works out for the time being. And if it doesn't, then that's okay. And we can like flip the page onto the next. And I feel like that kind of goes with the bettering myself overall, like in a more professional sense, but then also just like taking more things, all my ends, I want to take them in and then just do things for myself for this next quarter, which it's crazy because this next quarter is literally the end of 2025.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna add another thing I want to do in Q4. I'm gonna copy off Liz and just like better like my professional stuff because from what I've heard, seen, been told, it seems like for going into the marketing field, kind of like the winter time is probably when you should start applying, winter and spring, applying and looking for a job. So definitely towards the end of like the semester over winter break, I definitely want to start looking into like, obviously my resume will hopefully be fixed up by then, but just like first off figuring out how do I even freaking move states, move cities, cuz I have no idea what that looks like. So I need to start looking into that process, what I would need to do starting now, money wise, all that type of thing. And then I need to start looking into like what's even out there. Like I have an idea of what I want to do, but things are named different things at different companies, but when it's really you're doing the same work. So I need to look at that, especially for like places I would want to move to. So yeah, so that's definitely something I want to work on in Q4 is like getting my bearings together so I'm not so stressed in my second half of grad school.
Where we're getting it together here is what we're hearing in all types of sense, you guys. But with that, that is the end of our little officially fall intro in the Girls Lounge headquarters, like can be said. It is fall time here. Thank you guys so much for listening to our episode. We'll see you guys next week. Make sure that you check out our Instagram for our fantasy F1 posts and see what our points are at. Because if you missed it last week, I am catching up slowly but surely. I am getting there. But we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.